Welcome to Pink Radio with Prestige. This is the place for you, the diva boss entrepreneur who needs quick tips on building your crave-worthy brand. This is your host, Nicole Doss, CEO of the Prestige Society, a membership organization for women entrepreneurs who believe in building powerful networks while slanging in their industries. So I want you to go ahead and grab your favorite cup of coffee and get your favorite tips right here with Prestige. Hey, girl bosses. This is your girl, Nicole Doss, and I am beyond excited that you have decided to come back and listen to another episode of Pink Radio with Prestige. Just so that we can help other girl bosses out there be able to hear some of these gems and be able to make this podcast more visible to those individuals. I'd really love it and appreciate it if you can give this particular podcast 4 stars or is it 5 stars? Heck, I don't know. Give us stars that help us get the rating to see more visibility in Apple Podcasts or on any platform where you're listening to this podcast. So with that, let's just jump into today's topic. So this particular topic is all around pitch. How you pitch your business. Have you created a pitch for your business? And if not, we're going to help you create one today. You're probably asking, why in the world do I need a pitch? Because honestly, boss, if you have not created a pitch for your business, that means that you are not talking about your business to others. It means you're not putting your business in the forefront of your messaging. You're not getting on lives. You're not explaining what you do to people. You are not doing your business due diligence or any justice by just keeping it quiet. You just posting your items, your products, or your services, it's not making sense to the consumer. And that's probably why there's a disconnect between what it is that you do and what it is that you sell and why you do it and why you sell it. But when you're able to create your pitch plays the foundation of what it is that you do in order for you to understand whether or not your messaging is all connected. So what do I mean by this? Well, if my business is a business that is all about helping women create healthy lifestyles for themselves, whether it be, and this is not my business, but if this were, where I help women with workouts and help women with understanding the importance of taking time out for self-care, and all you see is that I'm posting a whole bunch of things around what I'm eating, you may think that I am posting this for myself. You may think that what I focus on is maybe just meal plans. And so I know that if I then struggle with I don't know what to post today, it's probably because you don't have a pitch, which then really speaks to your mission and vision around what it is that you do. So now you're trying to go into your tactic bag, which is, what are some of the things that I do with my business? And then that's what I post. So then it becomes very tactical, very piecemeal. So what happens with that is that people don't get the full picture. They can't see where they fit within your targeted demographic. So then when you're only focusing on that particular activity that your business does, you could be missing a lot of people. You could be creating a very narrow, skewed view of what your business does. And so looking at your pitch, understanding the core values of your business, these are the things that really help you really begin to have a conversation that has a all-encompassing view of what you really do as a business. So I know that's a lot of words strung together in a sentence, and you're probably like, I don't get it. So I will use some, or for those of you who are experiencing it, you're probably thinking wow, that's so me. But I will use a few examples based off of the cohort that we have going on at Boss Academy. So in case you do not know, because you will all find yourself listening to the podcast, but you aren't really sure what I do, I actually have a membership organization called the Prestige Society. In the Prestige Society, we focus on helping women understand how to build powerful networks while also helping them build financially thriving businesses due to the fact that there is a huge gap in earnings per firm from our non-minority counterparts. So our goal is really how do we help women connect, and then how do we then in turn close the gap. So those are the things that really drive everything that we do, from the conversations we have in the podcast episodes to the topics we write about in the blog to the kind of conversations we have within the community of our members, all the way even into the things that the people learn that go through Boss Academy, which are our new members. So currently, my new members are in Boss Academy, which is an 8-week course that's all about the incubator space of creating a business. And then they go into a 4-week accelerator program where they focus on how do they then create these revenue streams. And so our topic was around marketing. And what I realized was that marketing was really hard for them because at the end of the day, they really do not have a strong pitch. We've spent time building a business canvas. The business canvas helped them identify the 9 segments of their business, which included what is their value proposition, which also included things like what are the key activities for their business. But when they were trying to figure out a succinct way to describe to people what they did, I realized that the reason why they could not very easily speak to this is because they were missing a pitch. So what we're going to talk about, one is, where does a pitch live? And then 2, we're going to focus on how do you even create a pitch? All right. So let's jump into the first topic, which is, where does a pitch live? So a pitch lives everywhere. It is the foundation or the blueprint of the messaging of what you do with your business. Prior to us really having this whole social, type of awareness of needing to close the gap, the Prestige Society's pitch was very, very short and sweet. It basically told you who we are and what we did. And it was as simple as the Prestige Society is a membership organization for women entrepreneurs who believe in building powerful networks while slaying in their industries. The reason why I picked that as the pitch was because, one, it was easy for me to remember without having to stumble over my words. I was able to say it very easily, over and over and over again, no matter the setting. So whether I was introducing the company from sitting on a panel, or if I was someone who was being interviewed for a magazine article, or if I was being interviewed on a radio station or a TV show, it was really easy for me to speak to that. And it did one thing. One thing that was very specific and very important, it started the conversation, because saying things that were like, okay, women entrepreneurs, okay, cool, whatever, but powerful networks, or powerful connections, well, what made them powerful? Or slaying in their industries, well, what does that mean? How are women being positioned to slay in their industries? And so that was the goal. The goal was to really evoke emotion, because whenever women would hear that particular pitch, they would go, "Ow," like, okay, boss, let's talk about it. And they would then ask more questions. And so now it opened up the dialogue even more. And that's really what you want, because you want people to ask more questions like, well, how do you do this? How do you position this? Is this just for members? How do you reach people who aren't members? And that's how we're able to tackle all of those other different things. So when I think of, all the things that we do at the Prestige Society, the fact that we, yes, we are a membership organization, but we have things that also help reach non-members, which would even include things like our blog or even this very podcast. Those who listen are members, but there's also listeners out there who are not members of the Prestige Society. If you are interested, shameless plug, we are opening up membership in March, so you may want to take advantage of that. But, all that to say that when you begin to really think about, how do we build this conversation, it's all around all the things that we do. That's not in the pitch. We do not talk about the podcast in the pitch. We do not talk about the blogs. We don't talk about the fact that we offer standalone coaching services as well. We don't talk about the books. We don't talk about any of that. What we talk about is really what's the main component of why the Prestige Society exists. And it's to help connect women of color entrepreneurs with other women of color entrepreneurs who are like-minded, who are just as ambitious, who are interested in really being industry leaders in their own right. And so how do we do this? We do this by building business acumen. We do this by helping women who are really great at their craft understand how to build successful businesses. We do this by creating a community where collaborative learning takes place. So there's different things that happen that allow for these things to take place, but it's not until someone asks me a follow-up question do we then begin to explore. And 9 times out of 10, people ask follow-up questions. I would love to say 10 times out of 10, people ask follow-up questions. So all of that information about what we do really does tend to come out. And I think that's what's really important. So now that we've moved to more of this social awakening of understanding that there is a gap that needs to be closed when it comes to earning per firm for women of color business owners. Now that is part of the pitch instead of just this really simple pitch of like, we're just making powerful networks and slaying in our industry. Because then guess what happens? The question then becomes, how do you do that? And we could talk about our Close the Gap campaign. How do you do that? We talk about how we created an onboarding program that allows women to build these financially viable companies through going through the Boss Academy. That's part of their membership. It's not a standalone course. And we can talk about how we do this for non-members through doing the podcast and having conversations that allow them to move forward in their progression of building their business. So therefore, all of that is part of the follow-up. And I think that's really important. So going back to where does this live? It lives in everything that's in your messaging. It lives in your About Us page on your website. It lives in the post that you decide to post. Why? Because if you know that there's these things that you do, then your posts aren't going to be one-sided. Your posts are going to encompass all of the things that you do. You may have a season for a very specific thing that you want to make sure that you drive home. But for the most part, what you'll find is that you will still know that, okay, in this season, we're focusing on this, but next season, we're focusing on that. And you're making sure that you're giving everything its time by looking at the full picture of the business. It's going to also live, once again, in conversations. I mentioned very formal settings where it's maybe an interview or a panel, but not for nothing. I talk about the Prestige Society in everything that I do. So I could be sitting, with a bunch of girlfriends who will ask me the question about, like, they always ask this, all my personal friends, like, so Nicole, what does Prestige really do? And so I go back to making it really simple for them. Well, it's a membership organization. Oh, so like, what do you do as a membership organization? Well, I'm glad you asked. And then we go into more of those things. So because I'm used to talking about the Prestige Society, because I'm used to having conversations around what we do, I really got comfortable probably in 2014. We've been in business since 2012. So it wasn't probably until 2014 that I really got comfortable working with a business coach myself and honing that messaging, honing that pitch. So as we went through the Boss Academy this week, I actually had women follow a really easy formula in trying to really formulate their pitches. So I want to share this with you as far as what we focused on. Easy 4 steps. I want to give those 4 steps to you as well, so that not only now do you know where this thing lives, meaning lives in every, it's embedded in every communication you can think of in the messaging that you do. If you know that I am focused on helping women entrepreneurs, if I'm not helping a woman entrepreneur who is founding a basket weaving company, then me just having random baskets on my Instagram page would probably cause some consumer confusion or brand confusion. And we know that confused buyers do not buy. So you have to make sure that whatever it is that your pitch is, whatever it is that your vision and mission is, whatever it is that your core values are, you really want to be in a space where all of that messaging does actually align so that people understand what it is they're buying into. All right, so let's just jump right into it. So here's the 4 things I want you to begin to answer for what is your company? And we'll use mine as the template, just to give you an idea of like, you kind of know how the Prestige Society is, so you can see exactly how I use these 4 steps to build our new pitch as well. So the first question is what's the name of the company, right? So what's the name of your company? Number 2, what is the business? Meaning, what do you actually do? Number 3, what is the solution from the perspective of the customer? And 4, what is the problem that it solves? So if we were to put these things all in action, I'll use the Prestige Society as an example. It would be the Prestige Society is a membership organization for women entrepreneurs focused on creating a community of sisterhood and helping women build financially viable businesses. Through these efforts, we empower women to create businesses they've never thought was possible and begin to make strides towards bridging the earning gap for female founders of color. So let's talk about number 4 and where number 4 lives. So for me, I would do 1, 2, and 3 in a conversation, where I would just say, the Prestige Society is a membership organization for women entrepreneurs focused on creating community of financially viable businesses. Okay, fine. So we're able to identify 1, 2, and 3 in that very simple sentence. And then people will be like, oh, that's really cool. And then I would say, we think it's really important because through these efforts, we empower women to create businesses they've never thought was possible. And you can actually have a little bit more of a conversation around that. So for me, what do I mean? Well, women usually come into the Prestige Society with one idea of what their business is. And then through exploration, we're able to realize there's so much more untapped potential that was there, that when they come out of the Prestige Society's Boss Academy program, they are completely amazed at the business they ended up with versus the business idea they came in with. So that's part of the conversation, right? That's only part of number 4. That's not even all of 4. So someone may say some more like, wow, that's really great. A lot of people that I talk to also have had ideas when it came to business, but they weren't really sure what to do with it. So that may spark a conversation in itself. And then what I would do in that space is then talk a little bit more about, how I think it's really important that we have this idea for a business, that we're able not to just have an idea, but then we're courageous enough to then see it happen from concept to fruition, and then making sure that it is financially viable because of the fact that there's such a gap, and how women of color fall anywhere between $24,000 a year to $51,000 a year with their business, where our non-minority counterparts make on average $218,000 a year. And that was just 2019's report. So closing the gap and understanding how do we close the gap, I think is far more important than just saying we have this side hustle. That's all part of number 4, right? But once again, it's part of the conversation. So when I'm talking to people and I'm just coming in, all of that can't be the pitch, because now I'm really dominating the conversation and I'm not including the person to have dialogue with me. And I want them to have dialogue with me because at the end of the day, the more I can get them engaged in wanting to know more, the more I either can help them see themselves as part of my tribe, or they're so engaged in it that if they're not an entrepreneur, there's someone they know that is, that they'll share this information with, that they truly believe that we can help them. So these are things that definitely you will want to begin to master. You will want to begin to even memorizing this stuff, because one of the things that I think that translate into a confident female founder is a woman who can really speak to what her business is confidently without trying to find the right words, without struggling. So taking the time to write each section down and spending some time memorizing it helps you. Practice it in the mirror. I know you think that sounds crazy, but if you are in a space where you want to talk more about your business, there's tons of women out there who have businesses, but who also want to start taking more advantage of being motivational speakers, who want to share their stories more and more, who want to sit on panels. You can do that, but there's certain things you're just going to have to practice in the mirror. I hate when my 5-year-old says, "Mommy, who are you talking to?" And I'm like, "I'm just practicing, baby," because I'm always practicing something that I know that I one day will have to verbalize very effortlessly. And the thing or the beauty of it all is that people think that what I'm doing takes very little effort, but the reality is that it takes a lot of effort behind the scenes. There's a lot of conversations that I have in the mirror or while I'm driving where I'm practicing certain talking points so that when I am able or I am in a position where I have to speak on these things, they just come off the top. So with that, your pitch should definitely be one of those things that you guys are practicing on a regular basis. So please make sure that you practice those 4 parts. So just so that we can go back and revisit what those 4 different pieces of learning how to build your pitch would be. It's 1, what's the name of the company? 2, what is the business? 3, the solution from the perspective of the customer. And then 4 is going to be the problem it solves. And the problem it solves is going to be a pause, right? It's going to be the thing that when you're out talking to people, that's part of that follow-up piece that you're able to add to. And I would say memorize like no other, 1, 2, and 3. What I would say allow to feel a little bit more organic would probably be the number 4, because you want to map out and understand what your problem solves. Not for nothing, that is the reason why your business exists. And if you do not know the problem that you solve for your customers, then that's a problem, because now people don't know why they should come to you. So if you are an event planner, if you don't understand the problem that you solve for people, then you are a dime a dozen. Not for nothing, right? Membership organization, we are a dime a dozen. Authors, dime a dozen. So you have to get very clear on what it is that you provide as a solution to your tribe so that you aren't a dime a dozen. You need to instead be a diamond in a rough. You are someone who is absolutely a resource that people go to within the industry because of the fact that what you provide as information is so unique. So with that, guys, I just wanted to share not only, how you come up with your pitches, but also why you should get very comfortable with the pitch. I know it doesn't feel very comfortable, but let me tell you, I can't wait for tonight during our class, our Boss Academy class, where I get to sit with my ladies and really share with them why it's important for us to memorize it. And they all wrote their pitches already. So they've already submitted their pitches. So I can't wait to hear them actually say it and really speak to it with confidence, because I think that part is really important. So I hope that you take this time, write your pitch, ladies, get comfortable with your pitch. And I can't wait. And if you actually wrote something for your pitch, or if there's you're going through the process of writing it, please feel free, tag us in your social media. We want to follow you. We want to support you in your journey. You can find me at the Prestige Society HQ on Instagram. So please, please, please connect with us. We want to hear from you. We want to support you. We want to be able to give you guys shout outs. Let us know that you're listening to us, because once again, we want to help share our platform with your platform. So let us know. We might be giving you a shout out the next episode. All right, guys, have a wonderful, awesome, and most of all, blessed day. Bye.